Okay, I'd like to give everybody an update. Sorry I haven't been around for the last couple of days. It's been a real squeaker around here. The plants are dying, and and I'm at the end of my rope. These radios have just been one flogging after another. If it ain't tubes, it's resistors, and if it isn't those, it's capacitors. And I had this thing bagged up in the last video, and was getting ready for a debut of the final video the day after that, and there was a problem with the radio again. I went ring around the rosies a number of times with tubes. I completely ran out of 1LN5s. I just stuck the last one in this radio, the only one that I had left after ordering, I think, 2 and getting them in, and one was bad. And I think there was one that I fried, if I remember correctly, fried the filament on. And I don't want to bag any of the tubes off the other bomber or the clipper that I got from the San Francisco guy. So consequently, I've been putting in orders for more tubes. I just got a shipment in of 3 tubes today. I ordered out a couple of 6E5s for the radios that I got on the shelf that will be coming up in the not so distant future, hopefully. But back to this radio, I had problems on the reception part, somewhat on the broadcast, and definitely all on the shortwave. I got set up to do the demo video, the final video for this Clipper radio, and lo and behold, I went through a dry run, and she would not get anything on shortwave. So I've had this chassis in and out of this case about 4 different times, and got to the end of my rope, and swapping tubes and checking them out. I tested the tubes, and they tested okay. All the filaments were good, and some of the tubes were a little bit on the mediocre side, but they should still work. I haven't had any tubes that were in the yellow or the start of the green that didn't perform, at least to some degree. Well, I get it to where it would be okay on broadcast, but then no shortwave, and then I would get some shortwave in the evenings, but not real good. I mean, it was a big hassle to do it. So after about a couple of days of that, taking this chassis out, going through it again, double checking some resistors and everything. I've checked the voltages on all the tubes 3 or 4 times, just to make sure that there was no glitches on anything. Well, I went on to the Antique Radio Forum and put in a couple of search terms, and managed to glean a little bit of information off of a couple of posts in there of people who had problems with reception quality and no oscillation on the oscillator tube and whatever. Fortunately, I found somebody who did a full restoration. When I say full restorations, they went through and they took the tubes off the old tubular caps, pulled the guts out of them, and put new film capacitors in place of them, and closed them up and made them look original. That is a full restoration to me. Well, he documented most of his stuff pretty good, and he put in a lot of explanations of why he did what he did and why he didn't do other things, and he posted some voltage readings on specific tubes and what he was going through, and he ran across a situation where he was having a problem on shortwave. Nothing on shortwave, and only mediocre on broadcast. Well, to make a long story short, he went through and he decided to do swaps on what appeared to be mica caps. Well, in the documentation on the schematic, it calls them out as a 150 pico cap. They would call out as a .000015 microfarad. Well, he got to where he figured, well, if they're calling them out as microfarad caps, they must be paper. So he went ahead and changed them. Well, I noticed on one of the radios, the bomber radio, some of those caps were changed. And I thought that would be rather odd, because I always heard micas were pretty good stuff. But apparently the few that he changed were two that were still existed in this radio. So I went through and I changed mine. I also changed some of the others that were reading the MFD designation in the parts list. Well, I started getting some better results. Double checking the voltages on the tubes again, and they're right there. At least on the filament voltages, because I was reading in the post that if it falls below 1.3 possibly, the tube is not going to oscillate. They want about a 1.4 or 1.45, somewhere right around in there. Well, my checks showed that they were right. They were right there. I mean, there could have been an FE or whatever, but they were coming out good. So, I went and changed all those caps that appeared to be mica caps. I changed everything. I even ordered some that I didn't have. I figured, well, I'll try the close ones and see if they will get results, and they did. So now I'm waiting for silver mica caps, and I'm waiting for some more tubes, because I don't want to run short, just in case something else comes up, because I still got the bomber that I got to get completed, done. It was in the same condition this was, and this one here is starting to come around. I just double checked the second LN5 tube, and there was an issue with it. It was a weak tube, and so I stuck the last one in. That's the one I mentioned earlier. I stuck the last one I had into this, and now it's functioning like I think it should. So it's on. I don't know if you can hear the background. It's on the 49 meter band, and it's picking up shortwave. It's just outside the range. It's kind of drifting in and out.
Salgo con hoy
Izquierda y a pesar de ligarse algunos izquierda. Preacher out there? They got video of it! Awesome!
Mensen die het op Firenze staan.
Now, some of that is from interference from something. I'm not really sure. I did have a wall wart plugged in earlier, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. And I don't know if it has anything to do with anything I got on inside. There's not much on. What I did was I managed to eke out, since I changed all of those components in there, as a matter of fact, there they are right there. Those are all the ones that I pulled out of this radio. It's in spite of the other ones previously that I pulled out, not other ones like those, but those are the latest victims. So I did another IF peaking, and if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. After I got that done, and I was going to do the RF, that's the reason why it's in the cabinet with the things missing off of the thing here, because I was going to do the shortwave, the band spreads on the shortwave. Well, I guess it's the oscillator tube. It's either the oscillator tube or the modulation tube in my RF generator took a crap, and I don't have a backup tube for it. I never needed one. I've had that thing probably now about 3 years. I recapped it, and I got rid of the old caps, and I put new safety caps in it, and I did a calibration on all the bands. Well, all it would do is screech, so I can't get to the RF on this radio to wind it up so I can button it up. I have to wait for my V7 tube to come in. It's either a V7 or U7, I don't know, one of the two, for my thing, and then I'll be able to do the calibration on the RF stages on this. So there's going to be another, well, it'll probably be Monday of next week probably by the time they show up. Everything that I need shows up anyway. So we're knocking at the door. Once if it hadn't been for some resources and tapping somebody else's problem with theirs, I wouldn't have managed getting this doggone thing anytime sooner, evidently. So I just wanted to touch base with everybody, let them know that I'm not in hiding. I am diligently working towards getting this thing wound up. And
Doesn't matter, Butch. He's going to have to go to court and defend himself, hire lawyers, do all that stuff.
Now that is just on the mast. There is no external antenna. My long wire is not, it's hanging on the rack over there. This is just on the mast. So stay tuned, everyone. I know it's been high and dry. It's about like the drought we're experiencing. But hang in there. We'll get this thing wound up. And whatever I glean off of this one, I'm going to sock it into my memory banks, document it, and I'm going to apply everything that I learned off of this one to the other one. And hopefully that one will be wound up. In the meantime, I'm still trying to get back to the Silvertone 6325. So I got stuff waiting on me for that. So stay tuned for more. It might be a couple of days. Thanks for watching. And thanks for hanging in there.